Good morning. This is Teddy Burriss, your LinkedIn strategist, trainer, and coach. And this is my monthly webinar series titled LinkedIn is a Serious Business Tool. So thank you very much for everybody for joining us this morning. And LinkedIn is a serious business tool. And that's really the premise of everything I teach regarding using LinkedIn, is that if you consider it a serious business tool, then you will look at it and use it in a much different and hopefully productive way. So who am I? Besides being Sandler sales trained and Dale Carnegie professional trained, DDI leadership trainer, certified social media strategist, certified career coach, Toastmaster, and also the author of 6 books on using LinkedIn and networking, and well over now 800 YouTube videos, mostly about using LinkedIn and about networking. I've answered close to 5,200 Quora questions, predominantly most about LinkedIn as well. And I'm focused on teaching people how to network and teaching people how to use LinkedIn as a business tool. Been doing this pretty much full time since 2010. So why should we be using LinkedIn as a business tool? Well, first of all, because it's the world's largest professional networking site. The world's largest professional networking site. 760 million, probably pushing 780 million LinkedIn members today. Still about 2 new members every second. 56 million companies listed on LinkedIn, many of them in very deliberate ways. Some of them, very tertiary or simplistic ways, but they're out there. 111,000 schools, universities, colleges, trade schools, community colleges, et cetera, listed on LinkedIn. This is an interesting stat in the context of why I use LinkedIn as a business tool. 25% of all the members who are on LinkedIn show up at least every other week. Now, that stat is way different and way greater, much greater, it's probably the right words, than what LinkedIn was like before 2019. Before 2019, it was 25% of all LinkedIn members showed up once a month. So it's a huge growth in the activity on LinkedIn, huge growth of the show up, the people who show up on LinkedIn month to month, week to week. Here's another big reason why we should be using LinkedIn as a business tool. LinkedIn profiles, and including your LinkedIn activity, is highly indexed by Google. I recently started seeing more and more of my content show up in in Google searches. My LinkedIn profile always shows up at least on the first page, if not above the fold, the top 2 or 3 items in a Google search for my keywords. Recently, again, I've started seeing more and more of my content show up in Google searches. And that for me is important if I want to get more value out of using LinkedIn as a business tool. So using LinkedIn as a business tool, let's talk a little bit about how to achieve that, and how to use it to achieve your goals. First of all, your LinkedIn network can be a great, what I call, portal to new opportunities through your LinkedIn network, through the influencers in your LinkedIn network, as well as through your target audience in your LinkedIn network. It's a great way to connect yourself to new conversations, new opportunities. Often it leads to business conversation. Using in LinkedIn as a business tool also, if you're very deliberate and purposeful about sharing and engaging on relevant content, then this can help build your professional brand and your reputation. Very deliberate set of activities, again, to share and engage on relevant content. So the LinkedIn search tools are really pretty powerful. Actually, they've gotten a little bit better in the last 6 months when LinkedIn added to basic LinkedIn and to LinkedIn Premium added 5 search filters to the company searches. Before, there was no search filters for companies. Now there's 5 search filters for companies, which makes LinkedIn search even more powerful. Premium or basic LinkedIn, not Sales Navigator. If you look at Sales Navigator, that is even more of a powerful tool, because with LinkedIn company search, you now have 13 filters in Sales Navigator. Whereas of LinkedIn, what's called leads in Sales Navigator, or LinkedIn members in Sales Navigator, you have, I think it's 23 search filters. Way more powerful search tools in Sales Navigator. And another reason why you should consider using LinkedIn as a business tool to achieve your goals is because cold calling can be dramatically eliminated, or you can be way more successful with cold calling when you integrate the use of LinkedIn and or the use of Sales Navigator into your calling activity. I actually very deliberately minimize or eliminate cold calling because of my ability to use my network to introduce me to the people that I want to meet. So if you're going to use LinkedIn as a business tool, then you have to measure your success. You have to measure what you're achieving. You have to measure, are you moving yourself forward in very meaningful ways? One way to measure that is with LinkedIn is what's called Social Selling Index. Now, this is a set of metrics. There's 4 of them built into your SSI score that are very useful and pretty relevant and meaningful. And I've seen my numbers change in dramatic ways based on the way I use LinkedIn. The first number is called establishing your professional brand. It's the number that's in orange here. And this is how well built, how focused, how clear and concise is your LinkedIn profile? How complete is your LinkedIn profile? The more you build it out, the more content you put in there. And most importantly, the more relevant all that content is across all the areas of your LinkedIn profile. The larger that number grows, and the more impactful your LinkedIn profile will have to what I refer to as your target audience or your most important viewer. The second number is finding the right people. Are you connecting with the right people based on what your LinkedIn profile says? Are these individuals relevant to who you say you are? And the more purposeful you are at connecting on LinkedIn, relevant to your LinkedIn profile, the more that number goes up. I struggle to move mine past a 21, predominantly because, first and foremost, I'm all about helping sales leaders and sales professionals, business development professionals, but I'm also a career coach. So I connect with a lot of people in a lot of different industries and roles. And so that often skews my SSI score. And I'm okay with that because I understand it. The third number is engaging with insights. This number is based on the content and the engagement you get into. And the more engagement you do and the more content you share that is relevant to, keyword relevant to your LinkedIn profile and to your network. And the more engagement you can get on your content, again, from your network, the more that number goes up. That number is probably one of the hardest metrics to move higher because A, we struggle to find enough time to engage, and B, we're often looking to be relevant and engaging on a broader set of content so that we can because we want to engage with people in different ways and not just relevant to who we are, because we're humans. We want to engage on lots of different content. But the more you engage on content relevant to who you are and what you're all about, the more that number goes up. Then the fourth number is building relationships. This is primarily measuring how engaging are you and how connected are you to the right people. And most importantly, how engaging you are with those people. So the more you engage with your network directly, through messaging and through tagging and through mentioning and with their content and your content, et cetera, the more that number goes up. That's all about relationship building. Another metric that's really useful and important is the across your dashboard. You get who viewed your profile. Now, if you are not paying for LinkedIn Premium or Sales Navigator or Recruiter, you can only see the last 5 people who viewed your LinkedIn profile. A little bit delimiting, a little bit restrictive, but that's okay. If you have less than 450 profile views in a 90-day period, do the math. That's roughly 5 a day. But you want to pay attention to who's viewed your profile, and you use that link on your dashboard, which is on your LinkedIn profile, to get to that number. For me, it's important. The more people who look at my LinkedIn profile, specifically, the more of those people are relevant to me, and they are closer aligned to my target audience or my influencers, the better the value of who's looked at my profile. The more important it is for me to have my target audience and my influencers looking at my LinkedIn profile than just anybody. There's 2 other numbers on your dashboard as well. The article views, that's the last article that I posted, the last post, how many people looked at that. That's interesting, but not highly important. And then search appearances. How often do I show up in searches? By the way, all 3 of those numbers on your dashboard are clickable, so you could go into them and look at them and see a little bit more detail about who those people are. Search appearances, you won't see the individuals, but you may see the company, you may see the industry, and you may see the role and the keywords that they use to look at your profile or to find your profile. Another number that's important, and now this is not the most important, but it is important, is how much is your LinkedIn profile growing? And more importantly, who are your new connections? Are they your target audience? Are they your influencers? Or just are they anybody? And just anybody won't work. It's very deliberate for you to look at making sure that the people you're connecting with are important to you, relevant to you. Are, again, the most important people are the influencers and your target audience. There's another number that's important as well, is that's who's following you. You can see the followers. Who are these people who are following you? Again, are they relevant to you? Are they your target audience? Are they your influencers? Are they people who can help you in your business and or your career? Pay attention to your followers is another important metric. By far, the most important metric that you should pay attention to on your LinkedIn is how many new business conversations have I had? And have they been because of my activities on LinkedIn? Really important to pay attention to. How many new conversations have I had because of my activity on LinkedIn? If you're not moving forward with business conversations because of your LinkedIn activity, then you're not doing the right things. You're not sharing the right content. Your profile is not built out right. You're not connecting with the right people, and you're not engaging with the right people. These are really important. It's the sum of all of these metrics that get you the highest value, not any one by themselves. Another important thing to think about, and this is something I help people in my trainings and my mastermind groups and in my monthly webinar series, is how to get focused. Because when you get focused, that's when you create the greatest value. As we've studied in marketing and in sales training, it's important not to think about everyone. It's important to think about your target audience. Focus on your target audience and or their influencers. This applies to LinkedIn as well. You want to make sure that you're focusing your activities, your networking, your engagement, your LinkedIn profile on your target audience, rather than just simply everyone. When you create clarity in the context of your LinkedIn profile, your LinkedIn networking, and your LinkedIn engagement, then you're going to get the greatest value. Now, I often teach in my mastermind classes and in my monthly webinar series, I often teach that you need to focus on who is the human in the role, in the company, in the industry, in the region. because the more focused you are on that human, the more successful you're going to be. And again, I often add that you can include your influencers in this focus. So because the influencers are the people who can open new doors for you and introduce you to your target audience. Another concept that I teach in my mastermind classes and in my monthly webinar series is the words. We have to pay attention to the words we use. We have to focus on using the keywords and phrases that our target audience uses when they're discussing or talking about areas regarding the services and the products or the widgets that we sell. Because the more we use their words, the more we resonate with them. So you have to understand what those words are, and you have to be clear about using those throughout your LinkedIn profile, across all areas of your profile, in your content that you share, in the comments that you make. And if you're managing your LinkedIn company pages or showcase pages, you need to use those keywords and phrases there as well. Again, Marketing 101 teaches this. Focus on your target audience with the keywords and phrases that are important to them. Another area that's important to think about. Excuse me, let me move to the next item. So a little deeper conversations, and let's talk about the power of a professional LinkedIn profile. And again, in my monthly webinar series, I teach people, I teach you how to build a professional LinkedIn profile. I put that word professional in there because it means you've truly thought about what you're saying versus just building a profile. And furthermore, it's important to know this, that a LinkedIn profile is not your resume. Your resume is actually your ongoing obituary. If you look at the way most people write a resume, but your LinkedIn profile is not a resume. It's a brochure, a professional brochure, clearly focused on your target audience, clearly speaking to your target audience. When you think that way, you're going to get much greater value out of your LinkedIn profile. Again, this is the kind of work that I help people, the kind of ideas that I help the people who attend my monthly webinar series. When you write your LinkedIn profile clearly, you're not going to make significant mistakes, spelling or grammar mistakes. If you want to see what a pathetic looking LinkedIn profile looks, do a LinkedIn search for mangle or pubic relations. It's really quite appalling. Understanding what content you put in your LinkedIn profile is also important. It all must be relevant to who you are and what you do today, or if you're in career search, what you want to be doing today. If it's not relevant to who you are and what you do or want to do, then you're misleading, or you're sending your LinkedIn profile viewer down a rabbit hole you don't want to send them down. And again, I'll repeat, speak clearly to your target audience. It's you speaking to them through your LinkedIn profile, first person. A professional LinkedIn profile is truly built out as you speaking to your target audience in meaningful ways relevant to them. You want to minimize those distractions. You don't want to send them down that rabbit hole. You want to show the viewer that you are a human. Show them, peel back a few layers and let them discover who you are as a person. You want to understand what are all the different areas of a LinkedIn profile that are important to use. There's a minimum of 11 sections on a LinkedIn profile that you must use, where you can, again, show the viewer more about who you are and what you're all about, what you have done and what you can do relevant to what you do today. You want to have a very clearly choose the right profile picture that represents you. Never use a picture with someone's arm over your shoulder, or you holding a cat, a dog, or a beer. And furthermore, you want to make sure that your contact information is up to date with access to you today, not access to you in your previous job. That's a huge mistake. Furthermore, Again, you want to tell your target audience what you do for them rather than pitching your products, your services, your widgets, or talking all about the history of your company and the grandioseness of your company. Your LinkedIn professional profile is about you, not your company. These are really important areas of building a LinkedIn profile that I help you do in my monthly mastermind series or my monthly Master LinkedIn as a Business Tool series. Let's go a little deeper. Your LinkedIn network can become a vital asset, an important asset. I look at my LinkedIn network and I consider it a part of my most important asset in life, which is my network. Think about that for a minute. My LinkedIn network is a part of my most important asset in life, which is my network. It is the portal to all of the opportunities that I've garnered in life and all the future opportunities that come my way. So if you look at your LinkedIn profile in that context, then you want to be very deliberate about using it and creating it and managing it and nurturing it. So as you grow your LinkedIn network, focus on your target audience and your influencers in the context of who you are today or who you want to be. Also, be willing to connect with people that you can help where relevant and appropriate. Now, you're not looking for these people, but you're going to be willing to accept the connections from them. It's called networking for mutual benefit. And this is how you create the greatest value from your network. Because if you're willing to give to your network, then call it life, God, karma, or Buddha, or whatever you want, it will give back to you. Purposeful networking is what is the style that I recommend you consider. Very purposeful networking. Find people you want to connect with and look for ways to get introduced to them. If you can't get introduced to them, find people you want to connect with and see if you can bump into them via their content, whether their content is on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, their blog, et cetera, et cetera. The most important thing you can do as you make new LinkedIn connections is to engage with them immediately in meaningful ways relevant to them. Don't just build a big pile of connections. Rather, build a LinkedIn network of people who trust, respect, and like you, and most importantly, who are relevant to who you are and what you do today, or again, what you want to be doing. Remember, they don't care about you until they know you care about them. This is another area of how I teach people, how I guide you, how I coach you, how I help you get value out of LinkedIn through my monthly Master LinkedIn as a Business Tool series. Very important set of activities that I will guide you through. So as you're building your LinkedIn network and you're building your LinkedIn profile, you must start engagement. I often refer to the engagement part of LinkedIn as the magic sauce. It is the magic. It's where it all happens. Because really, think about it, in life, just having someone's business card doesn't help you. They having your brochure doesn't necessarily help you. But when they trust, respect, and like you, then opportunities happen. And that trust, respect, and like comes through engagement, comes through conversation. The tagline for my business is it all starts the conversation. So invest time and energy in this social engagement. Invest time and energy to find the conversation to be a part of. Don't be that guy that simply hands out business cards and brochures. That doesn't work. Remember, I worked for a guy years ago who thought it was important for me to go to networking events and hand out his folder of 7 tri-fold or stacked brochures. And I was like, man, these people don't care about that. They want to know who I am as a human first. They want to know I care about them first. And that happens through conversation. So look for ways to get into these conversations, very specifically with your target audience and their influencers. Use the Dale Carnegie philosophies and make the conversation all about the other person, and then they'll be willing to make it about you. And again, share your LinkedIn network with others, help others, be willing to give to others. And again, they'll be willing to give to you and or help you. This is another area of how I help people in my Master LinkedIn as a Business Tool series every month. It's human to human engagement. Please don't be a robot. Don't use automation. That doesn't necessarily work. It's not the best way to create value. A meaningful comment, a meaningful thought that you share through content is how you create the greatest results. And by the way, that's a minimum of 6 words, as a friend of mine, Petra Fisher, told me years ago. Sharing content that is relevant and helpful to your target audience is how you build a brand, how you build trust, respect, and like. I often use a Teddyism or an edict that I help me keep myself out of trouble, is to never do, say, or engage in ways that you don't want to be seen, heard, or perceived of in life. This applies to using LinkedIn as well. And also, never touch any content that could diminish your brand. That could be very detrimental. And furthermore, if you're engaging with comments and messaging, minimize the use of those canned responses. They really are very restrictive for building your brand, building trust and respect. This is another area of how I help people in my Master LinkedIn as a Business Tool series I do every month. So I did some research of probably about 6 months ago. It's still very apropos today. And that research was that 50% of all LinkedIn members who view your LinkedIn profile for the first time will then go look at your LinkedIn company page. Think about that. They're going to look at your LinkedIn profile, maybe through your content, look at your profile, and then they're going to want to know more about you. They're going to want to look at your company page. So if 50% of all the people who are on LinkedIn who look at your profile want to look at your company page, what are they going to see? First of all, what does your profile say? And then secondarily, what does your LinkedIn company page say? How does this help you with your brand? Really important to think about that. And this is another area that we touch on in our Mastering LinkedIn as a Business Tool series that we do every month. These are areas that I help you with: building your LinkedIn profile, building your LinkedIn network, building your brand through content. And this is what I offer and how I help you in my monthly series called Mastering LinkedIn as a Business Tool. So if you're interested in getting more value out of LinkedIn, if you're interested in creating more value using LinkedIn, if you're interested in growing your brand and finding the right conversations to create the right opportunities for business conversations, then consider this series I do. It's a 2-part series that I do the 4th Wednesday of each month. And it's a 1-hour-long series where we talk about purposely focusing on your target audience and their influencers. We help you guide you through picking and using the right words for your messaging in your profile. And we guide you through all the different areas, the important areas of building a professional LinkedIn profile, then guiding you on powerful best practices for LinkedIn networking and social conversations and social sharing, and then social listening, whether on LinkedIn or Sales Navigator. Highly interactive, lots of Q&A, and lots of content that can help you when you're mastering LinkedIn as a business tool. These are 2 sessions that are recorded for all attendees. Plus, we give you the ebook that's going to include all the content that we talk about. Furthermore, everyone who signs up for this webinar series will also get a free bonus private one-on-one coaching session, 1 hour for you, chosen that you choose the best day and time for you for that 1-hour 3rd session. It's a bonus session. So if you want to get more value out of LinkedIn, consider the Master LinkedIn as a Business Tool monthly webinar series. Sign up for it today so I can help you create the greatest value using LinkedIn as a business tool. I'm going to give a discount for everyone who accesses this opportunity through this webinar or through this live YouTube video. Redeem the offer today so you can get started. Thank you very much for letting me share this with you. Thank you for attending this session. Again, if you want to get the greatest value out of using LinkedIn, then sign up for the Master LinkedIn as a Business Tool that I do every month.